Okay.
Here we go. We're finally here, performing for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Put your hands together if you wanna clap. Every day you do this monkey rap. He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail. His coconut gun can fire in spurts. If he shoots ya, it's gonna hurt. He's bigger, faster, and stronger too. He's the first member of the DK crew. DK, Donkey Kong. DK, Donkey Kong's got style, so listen up, dude. She can shrink in size to suit her mood. She's quick and nimble when she needs to be. She can go through the air and climb up trees. If you choose her, you'll not choose wrong. With a skip and a hop, she's one cool Kong. He has no style, he has no grace. This Kong has a funny face. He can handstand when he needs to and stretch his arms out just for you. Inflate himself just like a balloon. This crazy Kong just digs his tune. DK, Donkey Kong. DK, Donkey Kong is here. He's back again and about time too. And this time he's in the mood. He can fly real high with his jetpack on, with his pistols out. He wants to come calm. He'll make you smile when places do. But gremlins beware, 'cause he's out. Donkey Kong. Finally, he's here for you. It's the last member of the DK crew. This Kong's so strong, it isn't funny. Can make a gremlin cry out. Can pick up a boulder with relative ease. Make precious rocks seem such a breeze. He may move slow, he can jump high, but this Kong's one hell of a guy. Come on, Cranky, take it to the fridge. Walnuts, peanuts, pineapple smells, grapes, melons, oranges, and coconut shells. Oh yeah, walnuts, peanuts, pineapple smells, grapes, melons, oranges, and coconut shells.
Whoa! What an awesome intro to start this game. Hey, what is up everybody? It is I am the one and only Maxi here, and I am from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new Donkey Kong Let's Play for our channel. And this time around though, we're going on to the Nintendo 64 of all things. And because of that, we are playing Donkey Kong 64, released on the Nintendo 64, released in 1999, made by Rare, the same people who made Banjo-Kazooie and stuff like that, or something like that. So as you can tell, from the actual quality standpoint, originally, I was able to try to play the original N64 cartridge version of the game, but then I found out about the fact that, as you can tell, we are playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console re-release, despite the fact that, well, until when it gets to the point until this coming March, that you can no longer get this game onto your Wii U Virtual Console lineup, which is kind of unfortunate, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes, that's about it basically. So anyways, here we go, onto this main menu right here, and as you probably already noticed, as soon as you're able to actually realize about the fact that the visual style for this main menu, that was before when the Game Boy Color version of Donkey Kong Country exists, and basically for some reason in that game on the Game Boy Color, just somehow managed able to reuse the exactly the same main menu screen as in this game does. Although except the fact that it does have a different music in the background, so that might be saying something. So Anyway, so let's have a look at the actual options menu quickly. There's actually quite a lot of selections of those options you can fiddle around with, like the screen size, alongside with the multi-language selecting, but let's not worry about this right now, because the main focus of this Let's Play is, of course, the adventure mode, and as a result, though, and there's also another reason why we're going for the Wii U Virtual Console re-release version of the game, as opposed to the original cartridge version, there might be some frame rate issues in the forms of the original cartridge version, but that's just how I feel about it, and on top of all that stuff, though, it'll just make things a little bit more clear when it comes to likely for the picture quality and stuff like that, which, despite its dull colors and stuff like that, for its lack of contrast, but I think it's pretty average at best. So, anywho though. So yeah, let's get into the forms of Donkey Kong 64, and as you can tell, we actually have ourselves a file selection right here. I believe file number 1 is at the very top, and then file number 2 is on the left. I'm presuming so anyway. And then file number 3 is obviously on the right, at least if I'm assuming so anyway, because let me tell you, it's been a very long time since I actually last played Donkey Kong 64, because I'm presumably that the last time I actually played this game is actually on my own time for a bit so I can able to complete the game, because yes, I'm gonna be brave enough for the challenge by going through 101%ing this game. And believe me, I'll talk more about it as soon as we're able to dive right into the main gameplay itself. So yeah, with those question marks, as you can see, that'll be important for later, as soon as we're able to actually get started with this game, and also shows us the bananas you'll be collecting and how much playtime you have. So anyways, let's begin. But first, cutscene time.
I've been waiting a long time for this moment. Soon Donkey Kong and his pretty little island will be no more.
Yes, Sir Casey. The machine's pretty rich. No problem. Everything's fine.
I want you to do everything in your power to keep Donkey Kong distracted. Steal that hoard of golden bananas he treasures so much, and take care of his pathetic friends. This time there can be no mistakes.
Oh, Your Excellency, we've already taken care of business.
I hope for your sake you're right this time.
No.
While you'll be busy looking for your precious golden bananas, flea-bitten friends, I'll be preparing my lizard-flavored surprise.
Now, I was originally able to actually discuss upon the actual dialogue for these text boxes, but I don't feel like trying to able to explain all of that. But at the very least though, it does has a brief English voice acting in the opening cutscene. But either way though, as far as saying goes, yeah, we ended up in Donkey Kong's house, and as you can tell, he got all sorts of stuff, ranging from his bed, and a picture frame of Candy Kong, because I'm presuming he has a crush on her. And on top of that, if you managed able to run into those banana peels, basically he can able to actually slid all over the place. Well, relatively speaking though, it's a pretty weird thing to have around here. Although nothing major we can do around here, because much like Donkey Kong Country, you can able to actually explore Donkey Kong's house if you wanted to. But all it gets in here is just basically you can able to just walk around and stuff like that, just to see some of your cool stuff you got. Like, for instance, the radio box and all the other jazz. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get out of the house, and we can able to start exploring certain parts throughout the game. And usually, relatively speaking though, it's just about the fact that the Squawks the Parrot just somehow tells us about the fact that the rest of the Kong members has been completely vanished, and it's up to Donkey Kong to able to rescue them. So within like the next few portions of the game, which we'll get to that at some point in, let's just say, in every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, essentially, for this uploading schedule in mind. So here we are on the forms of Donkey Kong 64, and basically, as you can tell, we're now going to be well, in 3D. So remember the forms of how the fact that in Super Mario 64 it works really well within like 2D to 3D transition or something like that for Mario, and then Sonic the Hedgehog does have its 3D outing for the sake of Sonic Adventure, which it also works very well for the most part, despite it does have some few bugs and glitches and stuff. But either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because as you can see, we've met up with Cranky Kong ever since in the past Donkey Kong Country games for sure, and what he's trying to tell us is the fact that we need to able to start doing a tutorial stuff first. And what do I mean by that though? Just to get used to with the actual main mechanics as well as the controls worked in the game. So either way though, well, it's kind of unfortunate about the fact that, again, I was expecting to try to play the original hardware, but it turns out it does have some frame rate issues from time to time, especially if there's like too much stuff on screen. Whilst luckily, the Wii U Virtual Console re-release version doesn't seem to able to have any frame rate issues here and there. Well, relatively speaking though, despite with the forms of some dull contrast sometimes, which it makes things a little bit more not as bright or colorful, but at the very least it's okay enough. So at least as far as I feel like about it anyway. So anyways though, so let's go ahead and get things started with the forms of, let's just say, these 4 tutorial segments that we have to able to go through in order to able to progress through the game. And yeah, every time whenever you do manage to play the N64 games on the Wii U, you do realize about the fact that the C buttons are actually converted into the right analog stick, and that could be extremely sensitivity to the touch, which, for instance, if you ever played Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, when it comes to utilizing the ocarina itself, then that could be a problematic, especially you have to maneuver the camera around. So Anyway, so here's the forms of the first tutorial segment, where basically we need to able to go from vine to vine, which if you haven't played any other Donkey Kong Country games before, except this time in 3D instead of 2D. So relatively speaking though, there's not much right to home about as far as this is concerned. But then again though, in order to able to progress for the game, you need to able to go through the tutorial segments first, before you jump right into the actual main plot or the main gameplay or something. So yeah, all you have to really do is just obtain the DK coin, and that's basically all you have to do for this tutorial segments for, you know, the first portion of the game. So there's no way you can able to actually revisiting them, so it's just all like one and done thing. So the next tutorial segment is all about picking up and throwing stuff. So for instance, we need to able to like pick up some barrels, and I think we do need to destroy for about 5 of them, or simply just throw 5 barrels for the sake of like how this thing goes. So, and kind of think about it, the actual soundtrack sometimes in this game kind of feels like a Banjo-Kazooie vibe to it, because obviously it's been made by the same developer as Banjo-Kazooie. Well, mind you about the fact that this game came out after Banjo-Kazooie and before Banjo-Tooie, which is pretty cool, I must say, especially considering about the fact that why can't this will be on the actual Nintendo Switch Online membership services eventually? Well, we'll see what happens during later down the road. But at the moment right now, the next N64 game they'll hopefully try to release is Mario Party 3, which will be the last of the Mario Party games on the actual NSO expansion pack for the N64 lineup. So, anyway, so the next tutorial segment we have to deal with is the ability to swim. And relatively speaking, all we have to do is basically we need to press the Z button in order to able to just take a dive in, and then press the A or B button in order to able to swim, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know about you, but it does take me quite a few minutes or couple of seconds to able to figure out the controls on, let's just say on the Wii U gamepad and the Wii U Pro controller sometimes, because I know for the fact that the Z button was actually converted into ZL buttons, because ZR buttons will allow you to take you to the safe state, so I'm probably not going to discuss on it right now. But anyways, now we can able to have the ability to able to toss those oranges, which those oranges are act out as bombs, and basically we need to able to throw all 5 of these bombs in order to able to progress. So that's basically how this goes, and this will come in handy until specifically later on throughout the game. So yeah, everything else will be pretty much accounted for those, you know, beginning tutorial segments, so. And there we go, that pretty much does it for all 4 of those tutorial segments, and now we need to meet up with Cranky Kong again, except the fact that, according to what Squawks the parrot is trying to tell us, that we might get ourselves our first ability for the sake of Donkey Kong himself. Because trust me, about the fact the matter is though, one thing I will say right from the start though, this is going to be our longest Donkey Kong Let's Play we've ever going to come across into. Especially considering about the fact that, well, I'll explain more details about that until specifically this coming Wednesday or something. Well, mind you, this is just the beginning portion of the game, so either way though, everything else will be pretty much expected at that point. So from here, we're able to actually learn the first ability for Donkey Kong. At least one thing I found is pretty hilarious in this game is the fact that it does have some very funny humor about these specific abilities, which I can't really pronounce them very well, because again, it's been a very long time since I actually last played this game, aside from the fact that I've been busy playing the original cartridge version of the game on my own time, as you probably already know. I actually kind of think about it, is the fact that this game is almost going to be 24 years old this year, so relatively speaking, time flies, doesn't it? Although, it wasn't until whenever we get to 2024, it'll eventually become, I would say, 25 years old by then, so yeah, time will tell for that particular point, so anyway, so now we've been able to actually learn the first ability, as I said before. Now, we can't do anything around here, because obviously we do need that specific Kong member, or one of those abilities in mind. So, yeah, aside from the fact that there's actually some of these banana coins, which does make a return, ever since in the Donkey Kong Country days. Although, except the fact that we do need able to get the banana coins this time around though, in order able to not only get certain abilities, but also some other stuff you know as well. Because trust me, this game is jam-packed full of content with all that. Let's just say the collectible system is ginormously expansive in comparison to the forms of other Donkey Kong games for sure. So anyways, let's go ahead and use the ground pound technique onto that particular switch as we go. And from here, we can now able to progress and start the adventure for reals. So, because you know, the first segment is just a tutorial segment as you probably expect. So, and here we are outside of the forms of, let's just say, DK's island for sure. So either way though, this is just basically a simple hub world of the game where you can basically just explore certain areas throughout the game. And relatively speaking though, in order able to progress in the game, there's actually a big special collectible we do need to get in order able to progress. You know, think of like Power Stars from Mario 64, which I'm sure most people already know what I'm about to say. So in some cases though, we do need able to go all the way over there somehow. So in some cases though, yeah, before we get to it though, let me just activate these little these banana numbered pads. So what this does is that if you press the Z button, you can able to actually just do banana port into the exactly same number pad into some different locations. Like for example, we've actually activated all 5 of those pads, and then we can't activate them right now because you need to find the identical pad that is somewhat close to each other or something like that. At least depending on specific distance you have to go through. Like for instance, we need to able to swim all the way to that particular island over there, and from here I'm gonna able to activate that one numbered pad right there, and that will allow me to able to teleport back to where I came from. So yeah, that basically makes things a little bit more obvious kind of thing about it. I wonder what's up with this guy right here, that he seems to able to get locked up from the likes of the forms of, I'm guessing King K. Rool's responsible for that. So relatively speaking though, he's trying to tell us about the fact that we do need able to get that special item we do need to get, in at least depending on what worlds we go into in the future. But either way though, I guess there's not much else I can honestly try to explain about this. I know it's just earlier on throughout the game, but I'm just really looking forward to able to experience this game for myself. Especially considering about the fact that, well, some people seem to able to enjoy this game, but for some reason other people seem to able to don't care this game as much as the forms of the Donkey Kong Country games. I mean, surely it looks really dang good for the Nintendo 64 game, for I've noticed. And also on top of all that stuff though, is the fact that the reason why I say that this game is filled to the brim with a lot of collectibles, well, again, we'll point things out whenever we get to on Wednesday. So in some cases though, yeah, he seems good all fine and dandy, and then he somehow jumps for joy. And I think that will basically opens up, I would classify for saying the first world in the game. And kind of think about it, the structure of this particular stuff like this is actually pretty similar to Banjo-Tooie, kind of think about it. Although, this game came out first before Banjo-Tooie, where there's a large world we have to explore. And on top of that, it requires a lot of backtracking for a multitude of reasons. But either way though, so yeah, basically what our ultimate goal is that I'm presuming we do need to get a specific key in order able to get him out of here. And don't worry, we will get to those exponentially until specifically the later parts to come. God knows how long this particular Let's Play is going to be though, but at least depending on the forms of how much time I had, or anything else to be more specific, so I'm very curious of how many of those key padlocks that we are able to actually stumble across into. So, if I recall correctly, there are about 8 keyholes throughout the whole game. So yeah, we do need able to actually get a grand total of 8 keys throughout the whole game. So, but that will be for later, and also I somehow activate the switch by complete accident, but that'll be for a later time, especially if the time is up, then obviously you need able to start that challenge again, so. But let's not worry about that right now, so we're just gonna have to able to teleport back into the forms of the DK's island. And from here, we can able to actually just to go ahead and obtain one of the first golden bananas of the game. Because these are the important collectibles in the game. Because, you know, again, think of like the Power Stars in Super Mario 64. And this is a perfect example of this, is the fact that, well, as soon as we're able to get into this cave, as soon as I'm able to enter in right now, basically, we're able to actually meet up with the forms of one of those weird characters in the game, which appears to be body forms of, well, there's also the forms of that little barrel object, which we can't do anything at the moment right now, because everything else is locked, aside from Donkey Kong. So, yeah, at least that's something. So, anyways, oh god, those beavers! We need to smack them! Die! And yeah, this time around though, in this game in particular, you do have ourselves the actual watermelons, which actually act out as health bars. So meaning about the fact that if you get hit about 4 times, then basically though, you essentially die. So we don't want to let that happen, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes, that's about it. But yeah, everything else will be pretty much self-explanatory. So this guy right here, he's trying to tell us about the fact that we need to collect a certain amount of golden bananas, I'm presuming so, just like the forms of how it does in Super Mario 64, as well as the Jiggies from the likes of Banjo-Kazooie, that we need to collect a certain amount of these things before you're able to proceed one of those worlds in the game. So, but exponentially, excuse me? Did you just hit me as soon as when the cutscene dialogue just finishes? Oh yeah, that's another thing that just kind of bothers me a little bit, and that is the actual enemy placement respawns. So, sometimes though, after when you manage to able to defeat certain enemies, then obviously the enemy itself just somehow respawns from out of nowhere. So there might be a couple of times though, they might able to actually surprise me every now and then. And this is where we're able to actually meet up with Winkly Kong ever since in journey forms of Donkey Kong Country 2 and Donkey Kong Country 3. And also I just realized she's now dead, because she's now a ghost, or a spirit. So, yeah, she's gonna tell us about specific hints, tips, or tricks. So, either way though, it'll be pretty useful though, especially if you have a first time playing the game, then I highly recommend you're able to actually talk to Winkly Kong if you decided to. But either way though, let's not worry about that right now, because I'm gonna show you guys how to able to 101% in the game, and yeah, this is gonna be a long marathon to go through. Apparently some people seem to say that getting 101% in this game is actually not worth it. Well, at least I'll give it a try to see what really happens if I do so already, to be offered a challenge. But relatively speaking though, we'll just go ahead and able to save that conversation until for later, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk to this little billboard thingy right there, and give away, or exponentially, we can able to actually just proceed to the first world in the game. So yeah, everything else will be pretty much fine and dandy. And yep, he's gonna be gone for now, until the later on throughout the game though, that he will occasionally appears before you move on to the next world. So anywho though, so with that being said though, we're at the endings of this point right here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong 64. It's the fact that we're about to get started with the first world in the game, known as Jungle Japes. So that might be seems a little bit familiar. So I'll see you guys and join at some point on Wednesday, basically. So again, wish me luck for the sake of 101% in the game, because I surely do need it. So I'll see you guys until on Wednesday. Let's see how that full Donkey Kong is progressing, shall we? That's right, my skelly friend, the ape hasn't even got his first banana yet. But what? How did he do that? Very good, Donkey. But you'll need more than brute strength to stop me this time.